I mean, it's dance music, so that's not really completely inaccurate. But so we're back for another episode. James trying to derail the train as usual, just running it off right off the tracks, but that's fine. Everything's fine. Today we got a great person, another comedian. Surprise, surprise! I like talking to comedians. Probably because I'm a comedian and we like to talk to each other because that's why we're comics. We like to talk. Today we got the wonderfully funny Rebecca Turner. Why don't you, madam, go ahead and give all the listeners of this fine, chaotic show a little introduction to yourself?
Okay. Hello, I'm Rebecca Turner, and I do bits of stand-up comedy, and it's usually quite surreal, quite chaotic. I do a mixture of puns and wordplay and smaller bits of observational, but not so much. And I do bits of impressions as well, particularly celebrity ones.
Nice.
Awesome. How long have you been a comic?
About 6 years.
About 6 years. Nice.
Nice.
That's so. How are you enjoying the quarantine? Where are you located, by the way? Obviously, with the accent, you're somewhere over the pond, probably, unless you, for some insane reason, immigrated to America, which I don't understand why you British folks come over here. But where are you at?
I am based in the UK, and I live in the coastal town of Brighton.
Okay.
Nice.
That's a big port town, isn't it? It's a big shipping center, I think.
I think that's more Portsmouth.
Okay.
Because I think that's more associated with I don't know what the American equivalent is, but it's more of it's more associated with lads. I don't know what the American equivalent of lads is, but it's like young men who are might go get crazy drunk.
Oh, okay.
And be like, wee, hoo, hoo, hoo.
Okay, yeah, South Beach. Okay, it's Miami, except in the United States. Yeah.
But less fancy. It's more, yeah.
So Jersey Shore.
Kind of. Maybe.
I could see the Jersey Shore's
idiots, right?
I think it's more just their culture. It's quite a nightclubby town, I think, because there's a lot of industrial infrastructure.
Right. Nice.
Well, that's got to be kind of good for you being a comic. I mean, I'm sure you would probably under normal circumstances have plenty of places to perform at around you.
Definitely. I know Brighton has its own little circuit.
Well, that's good.
Are you guys opening back up? Or are you still under lockdown?
I don't know. Because I think it's tricky because I think in the UK it feels like because there's less opportunities at the moment because not everywhere can open indoors. No one can do indoor shows yet. And so it's a bit tricky, and it feels like a lot of opportunities have been given to maybe stand-ups who do more club sets, more straight down the line
kind of things.
Yeah, and less weird. So it feels like that. And I know there's been some outside stuff. There's a little beach, one of the festival venues that they have, because in Brighton they have a Maytime Fringe Festival, it's for 1 month, and so a venue group which would have their shows in May, they've set up a beach venue. So they've got acts on, but it's just that seems only the really outside area for outside based gigs. So not many places have opened up yet in that context.
Bummer.
Man, how is Ohio more open than most of the rest of the world? I don't even I was talking idiots. Yeah, probably. I was talking to a comic in Vegas the other day, and she was like, so how's Ohio like? And I'm like, there's some shows. It's kind of like trying to fuck an elephant if you want to get booked for anything, because everybody's chomping at the bit just to get some inch of stage time. And she was like, yeah, I got an uncle that lives in Dayton, and he's out of the country or something. I've been thinking about going to his house for a while. She was like, do you think you could help me get on some shows? And I'm like, you're gonna travel this far for open mics, I know where those are. There's not getting booked is a pain in the ass. So even with us open, it's not even doing that easy of a time. Are you doing a lot of the virtual stuff?
Yeah, bits and bobs. Yes,
Yeah.
little bits and bobs.
How do you like it? I mean, most of the more experienced comics that I've talked to have the similar viewpoint that it's something to do. But as far as actually performing, it's about the same as trying to yell in a box. What's your take on it? How do you feel?
I think definitely more so at the start, like from March time, it was a bit tricky because I can be quite an awkward act to begin with. Sometimes it's at the very start, it was a bit hard to kind of grasp how you perform just to yourself, because you're waiting for that reaction to what you assume would be the punchline of your joke, and then it's like you kind of have to like know that there is a punchline, and then you just have to like imagine that the audience is there, but you're just like waiting for that online response, be it via Facebook or Zoom or the other fun little streaming services. So it's a bit awkward. You have to kind of, and also trying to learn how to play with the space a bit more, because you see some stand-ups who are like, "Hey guys, I'm going to tell you my jokes while I'm on a computer. We should explore the space, like see how you can play with distance,
Right.
and like how you can play with the creepiness factor of going up close. So you're like, and then going like straight far, like blah, or doing a dab, like poof.
What's up, guys?
Oh, you're all fancy, yo.
Yeah, I got a fancy
like
one.
Fancy angles.
Yeah.
Fancy camera angles. Whoa. Oh, this is like Casey Neistat angles.
Yeah. Like I had written down, so I keep writing stuff. This whole thing, like, because like Matt likes to point out all the time. I've never really done any stage time. I just write jokes, and I'm writing down like I have a different character who's like really into the camera setups, like he's a gamer, you know, and he has like all the weird lighting around him, and like has a real crazy, because I have like this camera here, which is like a fancy lens on it and stuff, and it was gonna be like all moody and shallow depth and stuff, and black and white, maybe, I don't know, different characters. I keep coming up with different ideas. It's just stupid, but like it would only work on Zoom. It wouldn't work in a live setting or anything like that. Anyway, it's only half fleshed out, so.
Well, I mean, like, it sounds like you're one of the few people that I've talked to or, have even seen on the Zoom stuff who's making use of this. Like, for me, it's not my thing. Like, I'm a live guy. I like people. I don't operate the same, it feels, on Zoom. But like, the way you describe it, that is a great way to look at it. Another guy that I like, who I think is doing well with the Zoom stuff, is a guy named George Wagner. He's a guy that we've had on our show before. Even just what he does, even though it's simple, just the act of having a more wide angle lens and standing up and still holding the microphone, that alone, just, you can tell the difference in between, what he does and what some other people are doing. And there's some people who are using like the podcast bit style that works well. But for me, I'm one of those, I'm a club guy. I don't, it's just kind of the natural form that my comedy takes. So it doesn't fucking work for me at all.
Well,
It just fucking
I
doesn't.
like what you're saying though. When it's standing up, when you're actually physically standing up, that changes your whole persona, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
well,
I'm sitting down right now and I'm just like, meh,
Yeah.
but like if I were to stand up and start dancing around, that would be a little bit different, more of a different energy. It's like when you're on the phone with somebody and you're smiling, it comes through your voice. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Good.
God, you're stupid.
I just rambles. Like, have you ever get lost halfway through what you're saying?
Yeah, all the time. You guys have seen it happen to me constantly. Like, what was I saying? At least I'm not as bad as Joey Diaz. Fuck. That guy gets
Oh yeah, Joe
lost.
Rogan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Joey Diaz.
So, do you, one thing I've noticed here in the States, like, comics have become more of a community. At the same time, one of our biggest comic communities is actually in the middle of breaking apart because of COVID. It's weird. Have you noticed any of the same kind of things happening over in the UK? Because, like, a lot of the younger comics here, have kind of banded together online through, Zoom and various places like that. Whereas, the older clicky guys who have ruled the majority of the scene, people like Joey Diaz, Joe Rogan, they're all breaking apart. I mean, LA is pretty much breaking up because it's just getting too crazy for multiple different reasons. Are you guys kind of seeing the same thing over there, over in Europe? I mean, are the older guys kind of just like, fuck it, this is too much of an effort, it's going to be too long, or
Maybe.
maybe?
Maybe. I don't think I could really say because I don't think I've seen much change. I've seen new opportunities come up. For example, in this instance, an online comedy gigs, you might meet people from like Kuala Lumpur or America who you might not normally get to perform with or perform in their comedy shows. So that's been really nice. But I think, I don't know about America, but maybe the UK had a slight, I think UK was always like, does America still have, like, before COVID-19, did America still have that community vibe where every area had its own type of scene?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much how we are. Like, LA's LA, New York's New
Yeah.
York, Ohio's Ohio, Texas is Texas.
I will
Okay.
say it's gotten bigger over the past like 10, 15 years. The comedy scene's gotten a lot bigger, a lot more inclusive, I would say, right?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it started in LA with those guys that are now breaking up and going their own ways. I mean, they kind of showed that you don't have to be cutthroat in order for it to be a good scene.
Right.
New York started to do that, within the first couple of years, probably before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and what the fuck's going to happen out there now? Because everybody's leaving New York too. It's like one thing I've noticed is most Americans are realizing that there's not, with the availability of other people, and I think those of us who kind of led the Zoom revolution, I stepped back from it because it's just not my fucking bag. I'll leave that to people who are more than willing to do their thing. I'll pull a Dave Chappelle and just get a soapbox and stand on the corner with an amp and a microphone and be like, "Hey, motherfuckers, listen to my jokes."
That's a way to do it.
What if that's what I end up having to do? That's what I'm gonna do. Like, I just can't. I can't do the live stream stuff. It's not like, maybe for a podcast that's cool, but it's different. I don't do bits. Our podcast isn't centered around bits. It's just about the conversation.
So funny because like I feel like 2 episodes ago you were on the other side. You were making fun of me because I didn't want to do a Zoom stand up.
Well,
I was more nervous about doing Zoom stand up than I was about normal stand up.
I'm just making fun of you to try and like push you to do stand up somewhere. Period. Doesn't really matter where it's at. It's just, you just got to get the first one over with. Once the first one's over with, it's over. It can never be any worse than that.
Yeah, it was
I
terrible.
do miss live stuff. And in terms of the community, I think I mentioned it earlier where it feels like, because there's less opportunities, it feels like some of the bigger, maybe TV known names are getting maybe the opportunity straight away. And I thought more recently, because of all the stuff with like the venues not being allowed to open for a longer period of time, particularly for indoor shows, and it felt like for a while that the comedy community were banding together, and it's now like, oh no, we've got a slot now, and I was like, oh, what about us?
and see, it's
Maybe
not.
I don't know. Maybe
It's
I will.
not.
I would like to do live stuff.
It's not like that here. Like, which is I'm really surprised now that I think about it, because a lot of the bigger name guys here in the States, they don't really. The big guys are like, nah, we're gonna step back for a little while, and
Right.
they're letting a lot of the like mid-level and lower-level comics actually get exposed. I didn't think about it until just that's really weird. Like, they're legit letting the next generation just fucking run with it. That's crazy, because you know the Bill Burrs, some of them are doing a couple shows, but they're not. They're doing the shows that they would normally do that the middle and lower level people wouldn't get a chance to do anyway. But like New York is doing rooftop shows, park shows. We're doing in-house, like inside shows here in Ohio, but I don't know how much longer that's going to last. They actually just
crazy.
told our bars to shut down stop serving alcohol at 10.
It's crazy here. Like I've been all over the country in the past couple weeks. Like I went out to the middle of the country. Not that we're in the Midwest, but I went to Iowa, and nobody's wearing a mask. Everybody's just walking around like it's normal, like nothing's wrong. I mean, it's different everywhere you go. Here it's a little more nuts, I would say. But it's weird how like little people just don't give a shit anymore, really. That's what I feel. Like everybody's just going out and doing whatever they want. I mean,
it depends on where you're at, I think. I don't know. It's fucking weird, man, because I think people are getting to see the various aspects of how people actually live. I mean, I've lived all over the country. The middle of the United States is definitely way behind everywhere else, but then you look at our major urban centers and they're fucking lost their damn minds with how crazy they are. Like, so with the masks, like, do you guys experience the extreme that we are? Because like here we'll have like entire large areas where everybody's like, yeah, fuck COVID. It's nothing. Who cares about the masks? But then you'll go like the next, I guess county over, and there's people like yelling at people for not wearing masks in their car driving down the street. Like, do you guys kind of have the same thing over there? Or are you even paying attention to it?
I'd say there's more confusion over the masks, because for a while it was like, don't wear masks, or like, wear masks in shops, but don't force it. But now you have to wear them. You have to now you have to wear them indoor spaces. But there's so much confusion about when you wear them, because initially it was just on trains, but people don't enforce it. Police can't enforce it, and so it's a bit tricky. But I think what I have seen, because I work in my day job, I work in a gallery, and so we have to get like, hey, can you put a mask on, please, to make us feel comfortable, and it's part of our rules of the building. But you do get a lot of maybe some people who will wear a mask, but it's like just covering but it's not covering their nose.
Right.
And you're like, hey, can you wear your mask properly? So you do see a lot of people like that. I think most people in the UK are trying the best they can with what they've been given. But the general rules are like, not wear a mask inside. If you're sitting down in a cafe, when you're ordering, you wear a mask, and then when you sit down to have a drink, you can take it off and then put it back on. And when you're shopping, when you go inside a shop, you have to put it on. And in trains and transport, put it on. And then in like galleries, and I think maybe cinemas, you have to wear them. So I don't know. I think we're trying the best with what we have.
I mean, it sounds like you guys are kind of handling it better than us. I mean, even if in our little state of Ohio, once we started opening back up, our governor was like, you should probably wear masks.
Right.
Not like as a, that kind of stern talk that your mom gives you. You should probably not touch the stove. That's probably a good idea. Just so you know. And that's where he started out. And then as Ohio started to climb back up the peak, he was like, look, you guys aren't wearing your masks. We're getting worse. And it eventually got to the point where he was like, look, if you don't fucking wear your mask, I'm going to make you. And then, you know, the second he was like, all right, everybody in the state has to wear a mask indoors in public. And then we had like sheriffs, like, you know, law enforcement who's like, we're not going to enforce it. Like, look, he gave that's what I find really odd about Americans. It's like, we'll be given
divided.
the option to do it the right way for a very long time because we're all about our freedom. And then whenever we don't freely choose to do what is common sense, we're like, oh, God damn it. What are you doing? Why are you taking away my rights? It's like, we're not taking away your rights. We're just saying businesses have the right to refuse service, and we're telling them that you should require people to wear masks or we're going to fine you. They're not even approaching it from a citizen level. Like, do you guys have the same general right to refuse service over in the UK? I don't know how you guys do it there. Like here, a business can basically say, I don't like your purple hair. You need to get out of our business. And they have that right to refuse you service, basically for any reason. Just because it ties.
I think so.
You think?
I don't think so. Unless I don't think so. I think I know I do agree with your comment though, because I do think maybe I know there's some people who are like, oh, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask. Like, I will not wear a mask inside. And there are some people like that. In terms of shops, you have to be like, hey, can I wear a mask, please? But we can't. But I think it's maybe that UK or English sensibility where you're like, you might grumble in private, but you're still gonna let them in. Like, yeah,
yeah.
Right.
You still have to let them in. Like, just to be like, hey, put your mask on.
Oh yeah, no.
You're not gonna be like, oh, go away. Can you get out of the shop? Unless, of course, they're being very, very rude, or maybe they're like really like drunk, or like something odd going on. But even then, there's just like. So yeah, I don't know what the rules are for that in the UK.
Well, I mean, here it's interesting. It spawned a lot of videos. A lot of video has been spawned from the mask debate. I mean, so far my favorite is there's a girl who goes into like a cable TV shop to return her cable box, and like she was waiting outside in the line because there's only a certain number of people allowed in the store. You know, and she finally decides she's done waiting, so she goes inside with no shoes, no mask, like, just, you guys are gonna take this, and just hands it to him and goes to walk out, and they're like, no, we're not, this doesn't count, that's not how this works. And by the time, like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds was up, she had been kicked out, and that was the only place anywhere close to her that she could return this box. And like, they charge you like a lot of money for not returning those boxes. It's just, it amazes me. Like, I'm all about freedom. Like, I'm a hardcore freedom person. But, you know, I mean, it's a mask. Like, it's really not. Is it going to stop you from getting COVID? Yeah, probably not. We're Americans. We're relatively dirty fuckers anyway.
Who cares?
But who cares?
Just
exactly. Who cares? Just fucking wear it. It's not that.
Be part of the team.
It's not. Well, it's not that Orwellian, I guess, is my point. I mean, it's not that 1984. Like,
there's plenty of other things to be fucking worried about.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that people are attacking other people's speech. That's way more, Orwellian than anything. And the way that the government and the media is getting people to do it against other people, so the government doesn't even have to impose restrictions on the First Amendment, which I think you guys have a lot of the same freedom, like speech protections over there, don't you? Except you can't say bad things about the royal family publicly, I think. I know you're not allowed to like film Parliament as a joke, stuff like that. Oh no, I know that one because of John Oliver. Like, that's one of my favorite things that John Oliver does on his show here in the States is anytime he talks about British Parliament, on the UK version of it, he plays like this absolutely absurd clip over top of it because he can't play that piece in the United Kingdom because he's basically talking shit and making fun of Parliament. Like, you guys have those old school restrictions, but in general, like, you know, a comic can say relatively what they want, I think, right?
I mean, there's interesting like rules. I know a lot of people do talk a lot of rubbish about a lot of they do discuss Parliament, and they do discuss a lot of crap about it, yes. and and I know like people have definitely been like vocal about the royal family, particularly at the moment with certain members getting involved in certain nefarious activities. So people are definitely talking about that. So we're not banned from talking about those stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think in that sense. But those are interesting like bits to learn about. I didn't know about those.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's only has to do with like television, like broadcast television. You can't air footage of Parliament at the same time satirizing it, like the combination of the
Something
two.
like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. Because I mean, it's not even that John Oliver is talking shit about Parliament. I think like one time it was whenever Theresa May was laughed out of Parliament, he was talking about it, which as an American, I wish our government would do sometimes. That would be I love your government. I really do. Like the UK government is foregoing the prior colonialism that even our government took part in. Like just the fact that your government will literally laugh the prime minister out of the building, you know, when she says stuff like, this bill had great bipartisan support, and everybody's like, no, the fuck it didn't, you stupid bitch. I fucking love that. Even as polite as you British folks are, there's a bluntness to how you talk that I enjoy, that I also have, that it's very hard for a lot of Americans to take, because it's pretty brutal sometimes. I love that about it. That's one of the reasons I love British comics. Jimmy Carr is definitely one of my favorite.
I see what you mean by Americans not necessarily being adept with sarcasm. It seems interesting, like how they don't quite pick up on it. Maybe it's like that kind of stereotype of being like, oh, we're so positive, like, and I'm not doing the accent because I don't want to be offensive.
Be offensive. It's fine.
Oh yeah, this show's allowed to be offensive.
Like, oh my god, I'm being so positive right now. I'm just loving myself. I'm loving my life. I'm just loving living body positive.
Yeah, no, that's about it. Yeah.
I don't think they grasp sarcasm, and that's why it impresses me sometimes when you watch an American YouTube vlogger or an American TV show where they're actually being sarcastic, and you're like, whoa, whoa, what the hell? Or when American shows or films have like a UK sense of humor in their writing, and you're like, whoa, they do know how to be funny in the 21st century. Whoa. Come on. Sorry, this is just my main qualms against like Saturday Night Live, where they're like, oh, we're writing towards celebrities now. We have no character development. It's all about the celebrities. We can't offend anyone anymore. No, we can't offend anyone in Saturday Night Live anymore. We have to be PC on Saturday Night Live.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just, well, no, it's cool. That's kind of how I feel about Saturday Night Live. I mean,
that's what happened.
Most comics, if you hear them talking, you know, one of the things that they say is, what the fuck is the point of even doing Saturday Night Live? Don't do that to yourself. You're just going to ruin your career.
Right.
It's certainly not what it used to be. It's you know, the problem comes down to nuance. Like most American, and you see it like in our cancel culture that we have over here in the States, like there's no nuance with people anymore.
No, not at all.
At least not
Social
here.
media's ruined it. I mean, they've ruined it. It's made one person as loud as 1,000 people. So if one person gets pissed off, they get to throw a fit. It's terrible.
But you know, the British sensibility, I think, lends more to nuance and sarcasm, because you're not, and I don't know if this is just a stereotype, but my association with other people from the islands over the pond is like, you guys tend to be really laid back and calm and reserved until, 3 or 4 pints into the night, and then it's ruckus, woo, just in general. But whereas in America, we don't, I don't know why, but for some reason we see so many things as just black or white.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because we're idiots and don't even know we have more than 2 parties in our political system. Now you're
gonna bring up the pirate party. Let's do it.
Nah. Hey, Shiai, actually, one of the few guests that we've had that actually knows about the pirate party, because being in Europe, the European Parliament is where we hold political seats. It's like 5 of them, but hey, that's more than anywhere else in the rest of the world.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's interesting because from my perspective as being in the UK, it feels like Americans like just like when you watch like clips online or when they're discussing stuff, American like people in general seem to be like really really into their politics. Like they're either definitely like, oh, I'm definitely this side. Like I really love that. I'm gonna go to a rally. Yeah. But the UK, it's like, you're going to a rally?
You don't want to go drink a
Cool.
beer? Let's go have a beer. That sounds like way more fun. No, yeah, we get into politics
It seems
because
Americans are more into politics, like really, really like, oh my God, I love Biden. Oh my God, I love them. Yeah.
well,
The UK is like, oh.
our system has taken the fact that our government is supposed to be ran by the people, and they've just said, look, these are your options.
Mm-hmm.
And who you align with and what you align with is who you are. Like, we've made it a part of our identity, which is really bad. And they've also made it impossible, unlike with you guys. See, you guys have options. So it's not one side versus the other. It's, 2 main sides and a couple smaller sides that actually still have somewhat of a chance of making some kind of a difference. Mm-hmm. Whereas our other parties, other than our 2 main ones, they have no fucking hope. People barely even know they exist, because the way our system is set up, both politically and media-wise, they only get the 2 points. And because us as people tend to stick to groups and cliques and that kind of thing, you click into one of those 2 groups. And since that's your only option, you're going to defend it, because the only other option that you have is to defect to the other side, and that creates mental problems for people who can't think for themselves, which a lot of Americans have a problem with. So,
yeah, especially since football's canceled now. I have nothing else to watch.
Oh, the Big Ten has been canceled, good sir, but the Big 12 is rolling right the fuck along.
Who knows? Who knows when this is going to be released?
They've already voted. We're going. We're not playing outside of the Big 12, but we're still playing.
Wow.
But I mean, that alone shows you how crazy Americans are. We're like, no, we could get a lot of people killed, but we're gonna play football. I don't think they're gonna have fans.
Are they no fans?
I don't think they're gonna have fans, no. But
doing hockey.
It is what it is, and I mean, our political system's fucked. So, whatever. I mean, Donald Trump's our fucking president. We now have a reality star that is a TV president. Right after we break history with our first minority president.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Our country is so fucking weird. So fucking weird. I don't understand it anymore. I don't even pay attention half the time, unless it gets shoved into my face.
It's really tough to avoid at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere.
So how do you like Brexit? Are you excited for that, if it ever happens?
What do you think? It's pretty crap at the moment, really. Like, no one wants it. No one wants it, and everyone just like we're like so frustrating, because now it just feels like everyone like hates us, and it's all great right now. It's super great.
It's so weird. Like, I mean, I understood why people wanted to do it, because UK's got a pretty strong "we're our own people" thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same
No,
time, it's like, man, that's a whole mess of problems. I don't think anybody saw happening, and if they did see it happening, they were like, we'll sort it out later. That
I
doesn't
think
work with international commerce. You can't just like sort that shit out later.
It's not just that there's a border that's like
Yeah,
people have to cross, right?
yeah.
I don't
What?
know. Just I feel like in the UK, a lot of people are like more so at the moment. We're not particularly proud, and I think it's similar with like the pride in the UK. If you have like the England flag, England, it's kind of maybe similar feelings to when you see like people celebrating with like Confederate only flag, woo woo, where like it's like a certain type of person who's like
Mm-hmm.
proud, we're so proud of England, and that kind of makes like us cringe, and we're like,
Right.
oh, that makes us less proud because it's like that stigma of like England gets attached to certain unsavory parts of the UK or unsavory like thoughts and
Mm-hmm.
feelings in the UK. They're a bit like, oh, they're
Right.
associated with certain
Yeah.
so maybe there's that similarity there, but at the moment it feels pretty crap. Yeah,
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't feel very proud and just
It's weird.
That's kind of how it feels to be an American right now. You're just kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're really not that great.
And,
I mean,
and,
we're
and
cool, but we're
yeah.
just not that great.
So all these
Oh,
police riots and too are interesting because like it was weird because in the town where I'm from, where I live now, um like what was it, 2 years ago? There was two police officers that were shot and killed and they were great like I knew one of them when I was in high school and whatnot, right? So like the whole town, like huge supportive for the police, right? Everybody put blue light bulbs on their house and like it was insane. And now the whole country has gone the complete other way, and it's like wow, like this flag that's the American flag with a blue stripe in it. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a Blue Lives Matter flag is what it's called. And it's turned into like this whole like it's almost like a Confederate flag in a way. But it's like I don't know. It's so I have mixed feelings about the whole thing, right? Like how are you supposed to feel like, you know,
Well,
like
it's all fucking absurd, man. I mean,
it
like,
is.
well, you look at the Blue Lives Matter flag, the one you just described, the black, white,
Mm-hmm.
and blue one. If you look at the rules and regulations that are associated with our flag, that's
Oh, well.
illegal as fuck.
Dude, you're
Not
not allowed
only,
to fly the flag
not
without
even,
a light being on it at
not
night.
even is that
You're supposed
illegal
to
as
burn it.
yeah, not even is that illegal as fuck. Those are the same people who are getting mad at people who are using their First Amendment right to burn the regular American flag. It's
Right,
like, so you're
right.
defacing the same shit that they're defacing for a purpose, and you're just defacing it because you're pissed off that cops are finally being held to account for killing people.
Right. I mean, it's crazy because like I feel like in both groups they're hooligans. There's like these like extreme angles on every side, and I don't want to be associated with any of the extreme angles on any side of any of that shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of the
I mean,
same
cops
thing.
should be held accountable, and then people also shouldn't be committing crimes all the time,
Well, and that's kind of the thing
right?
that Rebecca pointed out. Like, there's so many places. I would imagine, as we make our way around the world, because there's quite a few more international comedians that we're going to be talking to over
Mm-hmm.
the next time period. Like, most of us who are just kind of in the middle trying to live life and enjoy ourselves are like, what the fuck is going on? And the people who are getting all the voice are the loud fuckers who are like, burn down the government, or
Yeah.
cops are great,
Yeah.
or yeah, England, or whatever, or the South will rise again. You know what I
It's all.
mean? Like, all those fucker people are the ones who everybody's paying attention to. And
Mm-hmm.
that's because the people who are paying attention to it are the motherfuckers who are trying to poke the stick.
Yeah.
I just think too many people are trying to piss each other off.
Exactly. There's people who are out there trying to poke the bear.
Yeah, and I mean it's not even like a fun poke in the bear. You get somebody like Lewis Black or Bill Maher or Trevor Noah, John. I mean, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle the quote using comedians for example, the comedian falls on. Like we'll poke the bear, but we're poking the bear to point out the absurdity of the fact that the bear exists in the first fucking place. We're not poking the bear to make the other bear angry and hope that they riot so that way you can in turn attack them. It's like, another one of the weird things that I noticed that's happened to, in America over the past 8 months is we had all these Second Amendment people protest the shutdowns, but they're not protesting our government killing its own people. Like, that's what the Second Amendment was supposed to stop, was our government killing people. Like, it was a direct reaction to what the British were doing in the 1700s. No offense. I mean, that's our entire political system is like meant to be the exact opposite of a monarchy, because we were like, yeah, we don't like this. And now we're basically the same shit. It's fucking weird. Hooray, America! And other crazy fuckers across the world.
Quick question out of curiosity. What do you think about having James Corden as a late show host?
Don't watch him.
Yeah, I don't either.
To be honest.
Well, that's good. No worry, I'm just checking. That's fine. That's really good. You don't watch him, so.
He did the carpool karaoke. That's all I know about him.
And that was cool. I liked carpool karaoke.
I never watched it.
It was fun, because
I was aware of it.
Even though it was scripted and all that shit, you could still tell like him and the people he was doing the show with, they were actually enjoying themselves. I mean, and that doesn't come across in television so much nowadays. Yeah, I don't know. I think James Corden having a late show is kind of stupid. Like anybody who has a late show nowadays, it's just you're catering to an older audience that isn't going to exist in another 10 years.
Yeah, the format of television, I feel like, is changing completely.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
that whole late show thing is more turning into YouTube and clips that people can replay, and that's where they're starting to monetize.
And the only people really who are even pulling off the late night stuff are the people that don't have boundaries. People like Bill Maher, who's on HBO. Right. He can fucking talk about whatever he wants. I mean, HBO, once it hits midnight, the titties come out all over the place. They're everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's like they don't care. They haven't cared since they came out. That's what makes HBO HBO.
Well, what I would say is interesting too about is that with COVID and everything, it's leveled the playing field a bit for everyone.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they don't have a live audience there either. So, everybody's out of their attic or their basement or something like that. It's changed everything for everyone. So that's what I don't know.
And Bill Maher's a different
rambling.
He's a different animal.
He's definitely a different animal. But he's in his basement too.
They all are.
That's what's fun.
Yeah. I do like John Oliver. I mean,
I love him.
out of the people who have come to America from the UK who have done TV, I think he's one of the best. I don't always agree with the guy, but he doesn't come off as a pretentious foreigner whenever he talks about our issues. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of Americans have a problem with that whenever, I think, and Trevor Noah, I kind of have an issue with some of the stuff that he does and says, because he's not coming at it from a completely middle angle. And I think John does, or he at least tries to, because I've seen him rip ass on all kinds of different people. Whereas, you get a show like The Daily Show or James Corden, who falls more in line with their own personal beliefs, I think. Whereas John's just trying to report current events in a funny way and point out the literal absurdity of some of the things that happen, you know?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I miss the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I just miss Jon Stewart, I think.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I
Too
love
much
Jon.
is going on now. It's too different now.
Can you imagine? He would have blown his brains out if he would have been running the Daily Show. Like, I mean, he walked out. He walked out whenever our politics was just starting to get bad. What?
Yeah, it was pretty bad then too.
Yeah, James Corden, he did a bunch of whack shit over in the UK, didn't he? Isn't that why you guys don't like him? He did
No,
like.
no, okay, hear me out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what the UK are off about him is more the fact that we don't. Well, for me personally, he's done really good, loads of good stuff in the UK. Like there's some sitcoms, kind of sketch show thing, which was a bit. But he's a good guy. He is good, but um, I think we're a bit unsure about him at the moment, primarily because it feels like maybe people are interested in him because he's like he's playing to that stereotype of like I'm gonna use an odd American accent, and the people are like, oh my god, he's one of the boys, like he's such like an English lad, he's such an English lad, listen to him, oh my god. Like I think there's that stereotype of like people in America really like James Corden because he's like, oh, he's one of the boys. He's like, oh, cheeky chappy. Oh, cheeky chappy. Oh, I'm a cheeky chappy. Oh.
Yeah, but can you?
Like, oh,
Yeah,
cringy. It's a bit. Oh, you like him?
yeah, I can see why it would be cringy for you guys, but you got to remember, like, a majority of Americans are fucking stupid, and when we see like a foreign guy like that, that's our little reaction. They're like, "Oh my god, he's foreign! I love him. Listen to his accent. I want to lick his butthole." Like that's
so regal.
That's really how a lot of American like. His content could be complete fucking trash, and 90% of Americans would be like, yeah, no, I like him. His accent's real nice. And that's the only reason they fucking like him. So if he's playing into that to make money, fuck yeah, do it. I mean, I'm an albino, and I certainly play into my albinism to make money. You know, I mean, you got to use your strengths. And if he's playing off American stupidity and kind of playing a character on his show, yeah, fucking don't be mad at him. You know,
no,
the real Americans that you guys should care about know that that's not how you all are. We know you're, you know, so.
I'm gonna get.
But I get why you would think that a lot of what he's doing is definitely cringy because I mean a lot of Brits come over and they do that. Like they come over here and they're like they play that kind of what is Cockney Brit.
The Cockney Brit. Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? Like that dirty the dirty accented, real broken, definitely not Queen's English speaking person from the country. Like the closer a British person is to that with Americans, the more we love him or her. So if James, you see what I'm saying? Like, because to a lot of Americans, I think like the closer you get to a quote unquote Queen's English Brit, the more we're like, oh, you're a pretentious prick, and you're just coming over here and being judgy. Whereas you come over here and if you come over and you're more like, oh, broy. Kind of like a bro character, you know, we're more likely to accept what that person would say because we're like, oh, you're trying to be as dumb as we are. Okay.
Okay, so what's that sitcom with like what's it called? Is it Married with Kids?
Married with Children. Yeah.
Where they're like the husband's like, oh, geez, oh, I'm lumpy and fat, but I've got a really hot wife. Oh,
right.
Is it that kind of like that dumb, like in that stereotype kind of thing? Like,
Yeah,
Is that why you'd say you'd like James Corden? Because he appeals to that, like maybe the work, not like
the working class.
he
Yeah.
appeals to the
yeah,
general.
yeah.
Like,
No,
relatable
that's
space.
exactly it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's
I love
that's
your description of it though, Matt. It's pretty funny. Queen's English.
I mean,
Queen's
it's
English. The Queen's English. We love that.
I just watched a video yesterday on YouTube about it was a Brit explaining to Americans all the different dialects in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like 17, and I was sitting there listening to it, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That many? That's awesome.
Apparently, according to her, yeah, I don't know.
We've got a lot of accents over here too. It's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
What are some of the accents? What are some of the accents I should know? And
Well, West
dialects I
Virginia's a
should
good
know in
one.
America.
Well, West Virginia's just southern, and I mean that's pretty
No,
close to.
it's West. I mean, because it separates from, like, my wife's from Akron, and there's even an accent for Northern Ohio, and then they get to Michigan. Michigan was always like, instead of dad, they would say dad, dad. And it would be like up in the middle. It's really weird. South Carolina, they talk a little more like this. You know what I'm saying? So they got like a little bit of twang to it. So it's sort of like they got hookworm, and it got in their brain a little bit, and then they got holes in their brain, so they can't really talk very well. And that's kind of where that accent came from. I don't do it. Do I do it very well? I don't know.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I'm terrible at
Yeah, the U.S. is weird. It's fucking.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird
It's all
country.
over the place.
That's all. Yeah.
What's your favorite American accent?
I don't know. What would
I
you
mean,
say,
I'm from the South, so I mean, it's I'm pretty content with mine. I mean, I could turn it on a little harder if I need to. Although honestly, if I could have any accent, that old like 70s Jersey accent.
I couldn't do that one.
I would love to walk around all the time and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, you son of a cocksucker, son of a bitch, I'll fucking kill you." You know, like, and just constantly with that deep, guttural, gravelly voice, just always yelling profanity at people.
You fucking cocksucker, get over here.
Yeah, if
You
I
know what
could
I'm
spend the
talking
rest
about.
of my life
That kind
talking
of
like,
thing.
yeah, if I could talk like Joey Diaz every day for the rest of my life, that
You
would,
could.
I could, but my throat probably would end up.
You have to smoke more.
No, I'm quitting that shit. I'm done. Done with the nicotine. Done with the
Rebecca,
nicotine.
I like your accent. That's good. Your American accent's very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, you were pretty spot on. Pretty spot on.
It's the nasally, right? Like,
That one was more mocking. That wasn't a serious one.
okay.
Yeah, but I mean so the mocking is relatively accurate to a large portion of the country. So it is what it is.
I know the only like standout accent I know that gets stereotyped maybe quite a lot from what I've heard is like the Minnesota accent. So all I hear for that is like, "Oh hey guys, I'm from Minnesota."
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, well, it's because they eat that tapioca pudding, and it kind of it kind of makes it a little phlegmy back in your back of their throat there. So you know their nose is usually clogged, and it's kind of hard for them there to you know breathe. So it sounds quite weird.
Yeah, I guess
Interesting.
now that I think about it, there's not a favorite. It's more like, which one do I hate more?
Okay, which one do you hate more?
Like, probably Valley Girl.
Yeah, the Southern
Where
California.
people talk like up in a question at the end. Like, you know what I mean? And
Like-
they're like really, they get the vocal fry going on. So like your throat, like it's almost like you've got a cold.
Oh my God, it was so
Okay.
hard to
saying.
wake up. Like they didn't have any of the green drink at the store. I couldn't get my Starbucks because I couldn't get my green drink.
Matt's
Right.
not accent comics.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, where can people find you, Rebecca? I mean, we've hit our time. Where's all your socials? You got a YouTube or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm trying to grow my socials on my Instagram, where I post bits of, I do a bit of promoting for myself, and I do bits of impressions, and I'll do one in a minute. And that my Instagram is at Bex Turner Comedy.
Can you spell that for me?
At BEX
Mm-hmm.
Turner,
Comedy.
TURNER Comedy.
Beautiful.
Can I do my impression?
Yeah,
I
sure.
have an American. I have one specific to America. Have you heard of the comedian Kristen Shaw?
No.
The name sounds familiar, but I've never heard her.
She did a voice on Bob's Burgers, and she was also in Gravity
Yeah.
Falls.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I'll do an impression of her. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
I'd love it.
Cool.
It's surprisingly similar. I feel like Kristen Shaw because she like makes the voice of like Louise and my boss burgers.
That's pretty spot on.
That's good.
Right on. And
Pretty
with
good.
that, you fuckers enjoy your day.